I actually have a question for everybody as well. Because I think to myself a lot, like, why am I doing this? Like, what is the reason that I've gotten to this point of like wearing these costumes and putting myself on this stage? Like, what am I trying to heal within myself? Because it's, it goes beyond just like, I like doing this. There's like a physical need, like a mental need. And I wanted to ask ye, because I felt like growing up, the people around me, I wasn't sure if they liked me, if they hated me, if they wanted to kill me. And you have this idea in your mind, maybe all these people actually want me dead. But then getting to do live music, seeing a whole room of people applaud and cheer for you, do you feel like, is there a part of us that's healing our past selves in this process? And I wanted to ask, do you feel that too?
Interesting. Julie?
I think there definitely is. Like, for me, the longer I've been an artist, because I'm also a performing artist as well as the industry stuff, the queerer I've gotten. I have been in bands with mostly straight men for most of my music career, and now I've really gone out, tried to change the other kind of groups and bands that I've worked with. My core group, I can't change this about them. They're straight men, God love them. And so at some point in my mid-20s, I was like, finally I was having much more firm feelings about, like, actually, just because this is the genre that you've like plopped into, and this is what you love to sing, and this is what you pick up the bass and make loud music, like, I think the alternative rock scene can be very straight and male oriented, and it's really changing in the last 10 years, which is great. But I found a responsibility, like, hugely, and like starting to really internalize this sense of like pride and responsibility, and being like, no, I really don't want to, because like rock music is, unless you're in a really big city that has these kind of facilities, it's rarely going to be served by a safe queer space. Like, you're probably not going to have the right PA. You're probably not going to have the masses of rock fans within the queer community. It's just not, there's not enough of us necessarily. Like, I'm always going to find myself in these kind of dive bars and dive venues, and it's always going to be a lot of straight people there. And I walk into these spaces and I walk onto those stages or into these like kind of post-gig chats. And the longer I'm doing that, the more I'm feeling like I have someone I need to represent here. Because I would rather stick to my guns and like do this screeching rock stuff and kind of change what that can look like. So I was actually finding it really interesting hearing you guys talk about queer spaces, because I love to go to a queer space, I love to dance in a queer space, I love to hear music in a queer space, but my music is never going to fit on a cabaret stage or a kind of more traditionally queer stage, certainly not in terms of what I see in Ireland. Definitely when I lived in Berlin, there was a lot more crossover between DIY music and queer culture. But here, I don't see necessarily that crossover. And what I would love to see is more kind of traditionally heteronormative spaces just become more genuinely inclusive. I don't think I can expect Whelan's to become a safe, exclusive LGBT space. That's not what Whelan's is for. But I would love to see more work done with traditionally kind of mixed, ideally intersectional venues that are kind of doing well in Dublin and are the cornerstone of the live music scene here. And I hope stay open, even though for all their problems, they are kind of all we have for a lot of genres of music, especially like rock music. We need our Whelans and we need our Weckmans and Shaw and all those other spaces. So for me, I'd love to, and I have started feeling less and less like I'm the one person here trying to make this specific type of voice be heard. But it really, really comes down to the people who are making money in those venues actually giving a shit and wanting that change to happen from the inside. So like, I have a lot of friends who have worked in the workman's scene, and just listening to them talk about how difficult it is to kind of try and get enough training, on the ground actually happening to have more, understanding on how to make it a safe space, how to deal with potential violence in space, how to deal with homophobia in space. And I think safe spaces are so important. But my lived experience is really seeing these kind of more traditionally heteronormative spaces kind of, you know, pretending at being better at this stuff, but not maybe getting there yet. So I know I kind of brought this back to the venue thing, but so many of the roles I play, including being in a kind of heteronormative looking relationship, have just pushed me towards being more vocally queer. Because I'm like, I have to maintain this representation. I have to make sure everybody sees that, like, in an office, you can look this way, you can sound this way, you can have this kind of, you know, you can be this gay. And also in a rock band, you can do that. And yeah, I think I've enjoyed, like, the more time passes and the more I've gotten to know myself, I've enjoyed who I am on stage, because I know that I would have wanted to see that person and I would have wanted to hear what she has to say. And we're quite a political band as well, so I think, you know, gaining that confidence to kind of stand for something that maybe I would have been too shy to say or stand up for when I was a teenager, it's definitely really, really healing, like massively so. So thank you for asking that question, actually.
No problem.